Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on our brief webinar about unemployment insurance fraud. And the question on everyone's mind is, are you compromised? I'm sure many of you joining us have gone through this and that are interested in learning more and what you need to do. Many of you have just been reading about it in the headlines, whether you're seeing unemployment insurance fraud or unemployment benefits fraud, or just unemployment fraud. They're all related, and we're going to get into a little bit about what's been going on. So, for starters, this is not a local matter, right? This is national. Those of you that joined us from the How to Work from Home webinar, we kind of knew that now more than ever, the cyber criminals are taking advantage of the current climate. And that has become incredibly evident through this kind of mass unemployment fraud spreading throughout the nation. Again, really being seen in so many states. I want to let everyone know that I personally was affected by this. So it is not, this isn't something that anyone has done that is their fault. And we'll get into kind of the background right now. So this is from Krebs Security, where we've seen an article that stated the U.S. Secret Service circulated around all the field offices a memo saying that a ring of specifically a Nigerian cybercrime ring, which we'll talk again more about shortly, has been filing unemployment claims in different states. So they are using social security numbers and other personal identifiable information belonging to identity theft victims. And this was back in May, where they were already claiming a substantial amount of fraudulent benefits have been submitted. Again, using the PII. This was highlighted really of everyone, but that's something that had been a trend was coming from first responders, government personnel, and school employees. That was kind of the first go. Now it is, really any major employer we're seeing, and just an array across the nation and across our states. So what we've come to learn is that it seems to have originated from a Nigerian crime ring known as Scattered Canary. They have been culprits of this type of crime before. They have done, falsifying tax returns in the past. This is kind of their MO. The thought is that, almost all of the information that they have has come from previous breaches. So the Experian breach, the Equifax breach, I mean, we could name them all day and do a webinar on just all the breaches that have happened. It's something that we do commonly warn about and address on a regular basis, is that our information is out there. And again, the time was ripe with COVID-19, with the efforts to get out these unemployment benefits to people in their time of need, in which the cyber criminals took full advantage. So a lot of things that have been happening, for starters, is the fact that so someone will visit a state site, they will apply for unemployment regardless of whether that person is employed or not, again using this information that they've already previously obtained. Once this happens, the ball gets rolling. Some forms get submitted to employers saying, this employee has requested this. They give a proper address so that these departments of labor can reach out, and then either these funds are placed into someone's account via direct deposit, or they will receive a Visa card. So the other piece of this is the money is being laundered or received through the use of mules, either kind of willing or either willing participants or unknowing participants, a combination thereof. A lot of times this is being done through very classic social engineering techniques and scams that have been in play for a long time. So utilizing a classic romance scam or a Craigslist scam. An example of this would be, someone reaching out on a dating app and, whether it be male or female, building a, faux relationship and something like, hey, I really need to receive my benefits, or I really need to deposit a large sum of money, but I don't have a bank account right now. Can I use your bank account? And, this people then oblige. Of course, what really is happening is they are just using it as a landing place for these fraudulent funds that they've taken from people that did not need to file for unemployment. And of course, this is disrupting the whole environment for people that do rightfully need unemployment. So very clearly a mess. Again, the money is issued via direct deposit or a Visa card. So if we've seen kind of a mixed bag of people either getting notifications saying, hey, you've received your payment with a copy of the statement, so showing that the funds have been transferred to X, Y, and Z account, or if the fraudsters put in a bad bank account number or put it in incorrectly, what will happen is you will receive a Visa card from the state with your benefits on it. Now, goes without saying, but we're going to cover all the bases here. If you have received any notifications from your labor department in terms of unemployment benefits, and you know that you shouldn't have, please, please, please make sure you report that. We'll talk about how shortly. The inverse of that, if you do, if you receive the Visa card, do not go out and spend it. You will now be perpetrating a fraud yourself. This is not free money. This is not like our stimulus package, which everyone received. This is, these are the regular unemployment benefits, not to be spent. So if you do receive that card, again, report it in the same way and make sure that you both destroy and do not spend any of the money on that card. It has been said that banks have been targeted at all levels. So everything from community banks to credit unions to large national banks. It is, again, this is, kind of unprecedented, and, all of these payments in an effort to, help our communities and help our people were expedited, but now there is a strong lens under a lot of these claims. Just a few weeks ago, in the state of Maine alone, we were up to 2,200 falsified unemployment claims, and that number continues to grow massively, not just in the state of Maine, but throughout numerous states. So it's definitely concerning. I want to address the fact that, again, two things are happening here. So fraud, this is a massive multi-million-dollar criminal attack against both state unemployment insurance systems and the federal government, right? So they're going, you could receive not just from your state, but also from the Fed, because the process is the same as to initiate that. The second thing here is the identity theft, right? So stolen personal information being used to file the claims. And again, this includes your name, your address, your social security number, your date of birth, and your employer. You will receive a correspondence letter from your state's Department of Labor. Again, there'll be a claim notification. There'll be a monetary determination, so telling you how much you're going to receive and for how long. There'll be a payment notice of direct deposit or the debit card, which we discussed. And your employer is also supposed to alert you. If you, and we'll get to this, we'll revisit this, but if you are an employer and you are seeing claims come in from someone that is positively still employed, please reach out, provide the information that we're going to discuss today. Work with your employees so that we're not all in the dark together. We need to be able to shed light on how we handle this and how we move forward. I'm seeing a question come in asking, do we have any insight as to when the state of Maine will reconcile the fraudulent requests and stop issuing payment eligibility notices? I think right now there is still kind of a scramble to, they're working diligently to really make sure that every claim is now a legitimate claim. I know that they're still receiving thousands of claims daily, and that the entire process has slowed way down in an effort and reaction to the fraud. I don't have hard dates as of now. So in terms of reporting the fraud to your state labor department, every state is going to be similar. We have examples here specifically of Maine, because that just happens to be where I currently am. But start by Googling online search report unemployment fraud in whatever state you may be in. It should jump you right to your Department of Labor.gov site. Definitely be hyper diligent in making sure that when you click on one of these links that you are absolutely at a .gov site, and not a fraudulent site, because my best guess is that will be something that will happen shortly if it has not happened already in other states, where we have seen sites like the World Health Organization being mimicked, or the CDC. So again, just be very diligent. I know that in many states, there's also the option to call, and it will require you to do an online identity theft reporting form and fill out these things we see here, right? You're going to give them your name, your address, your date of birth, the last four of your social, your email, and the details of your situation. Again, they are working incredibly diligently. If you do need to call, please be patient with the Department of Labor as they're navigating through this, but definitely act quickly and swiftly. If this has happened to you specifically, if this has happened to a friend, be checking your mail more diligently than maybe you would have, because no, they're not going to send you an unsolicited letter from the Department of Labor from any state. The next things that we really want to make sure that we're all doing is checking our credit reports. First, so we want to start there for unusual or suspicious activity, because the simple answer is now we know, that this very prevalent information is out there about countless individuals. And what can we do with that information outside of the fraud already being perpetrated? Well, tons of things, right? People can sign up for credit reports or attempt to get loans. So we want to make sure that no other activity is being conducted outside of this fraud, if you're already aware of it. The next step is to freeze your credit. Again, someone already has your information, they've already made attempts. This will make it so that no one is able to open up a line of credit in your name, any new line of credit. Now, oftentimes, I know that when I say the term freeze your credit, people that are unaware get very nervous, and the follow-up questions are, well, I use my Amex all the time, and does that mean I won't be able to use my card, and do I have automatic payments? It's not going to affect any current credit, credit card or loan that you may have already established. This will simply make it impossible for fraudsters to set up any new lines of credit that you are now unaware of and that they are utilizing without your knowledge. You are going to want to notify your bank or all of your financial institutions and ask them to make a note and on your file that this has happened to you, make them aware. The next thing, and this is kind of the most painstaking step for everyone, is we need to go in and change our banking, our passwords for our banking, credit card, social media, email. Everything that has sensitive information is now at risk, because they do have enough information to try to supersede a lot of these challenge questions. They have all the power and most of the knowledge they would need to get around the general checks that we'd be going through in terms of authentication. So the last thing we want is to be compromised in multiple more locations and account levels. So 100% make sure that we're going in and changing every password. And Additionally, setting up multi-factor authentication everywhere where it's applicable. And for everything that I've named, banking, credit card, social media, email, all of those should have the ability to set up multi-factor. For those of you that aren't familiar, multi-factor authentication is when once we've typed in our credentials and we've typed in our password and our username, it then prompts us to type in a code that has been sent to our preferred mobile device or email, what have you, and then you need to go and put that code in before being allowed onto any account. This is an extra step, but it is invaluable, especially if someone is trying to access one of your accounts remotely, and you are alerted on it via your two-factor. You now automatically know that your initial credentials have been compromised, or someone is attempting to reset your password. This arms you with that knowledge. It also just makes it that much more difficult for the cyber criminal to gain access. So absolutely go through that process. Additionally, think about, if you aren't an online banker, or you do try to avoid using, online mediums, still go and sign up for your online banking. Make the credit card online account. Do all of these things so in that no one can go and do that for you. And again, so now without your knowledge, they have your social, they have your date of birth, maybe they're able to get an account number, with these pieces, and now they're able to go and set up your online banking again, and now they have direct access. So go and take care of those things on your own before someone else has the chance to. We've in the past years, separate from this, another thing we've heard about a lot is people taking advantage of Social Security, going on and logging in to making a login for Social Security, and then similar to this, redirecting the payments to a direct deposit of their choosing. So kind of all of these things that we might not normally think about, or we don't feel that we use enough to make an account, it is absolutely worth making to protect ourselves and to be preventative as opposed to reactive. And especially if you're already experiencing this, and you're taking these steps, there's absolutely no excuse not to follow through and do this next piece. I do see another question asking if freezing credit affects credit scores. To my knowledge, it should not. I do not believe that it will affect your credit score at all. I will do more due diligence to that. I'm not a credit expert specifically, so I don't want to overstate that. But I would imagine that my understanding is that it is not, and I would imagine that especially now, creditors would rather you freeze your credit than take the risks of having these bad actors set up additional credit lines, which is sure to hurt your credit significantly more than putting a freeze on it. Goes without saying, high alert for phishing and scam emails, calls and texts. That's already been the case kind of through our whole COVID experience. It has been rampant. I know that as early as March, when everything kind of took off, that there had already been a 60% rise in phishing that had been being reported. But especially now, with this being again so highlighted in the news, and if you are a victim, again, just be very weary of the information coming in. Try to visit those sites. If you receive an email from the Maine Department of Labor, per usual, don't click it on that email. Visit it, on your own. Type in maindepartmentoflabor.gov, and do that as opposed to following a potential phishing email. That is going to be the safer way always. Again, if you work for an organization that has an IT or HR departments, do let them know. They should be in the know, but if they are not, because again, everyone is buried, everyone is trying to respond to the limitations that we find ourselves in still with COVID-19. So don't wait for your employer to reach out if you haven't already been contacted and you've become a victim. reach out to them and let them know. Echoing one more time too, if you are an employer and you receive a report that a current employee has filed a claim, obviously let them know, share the information that you're learning today. This session will be recorded. Feel free to share that with as many employees or as many people affected as possible. We want to get this message out. When you are going to check your credit report, many of the states will direct you here, once you've gone through that fraudulent claim form, to annualcreditreport.com, which is currently making it so that Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion reports are now free weekly through April 2021 because of the amount of fraud, and they want people to be able to monitor it regularly. Once you have gone through getting your credit report, you will also be able to, it will give you options to visit each of the credit unions and to freeze your credit. Now, very important to highlight the fact that each credit union is their own credit union. They're the three major ones, again, being TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. If you freeze your credit for one, that does not mean that you have freeze your credit for all. You will need to go to each one to do this. Again, it shows here that you can freeze a loved one's credit. So should you have a spouse that has been affected, or an elderly parent, you can help them with this as well, or a child that has somehow been affected. You can take this under your umbrella and work with them to do this. Which highly recommend, as we're again all in this together. The other piece of this is when you do freeze your credit, be very mindful about the passwords that you're using for that. Make sure you store those in your password safe or somewhere incredibly secure. Many times it will require you to set a PIN. Do not lose that PIN under any circumstances, because that is going to be required to unfreeze your credit. That said, down the line, should you need to apply for a card or a loan or what have you, you can unfreeze your credit just as quickly as you're able to freeze it. You can also do temporary unfreezes, so to get that process initiated, and then it'll go back to being frozen, so you don't have to worry. Those of you, I'm seeing additional questions come in. Those of you that have received letters from the Department of Labor but cannot get a hold of the department, it looks like people have been trying on the phone. Again, there are online forms to go about that. So please take that avenue. If you're not able to get a hold on the phone, reach out. If we can help you in any way, reach out specifically to me, and I'll, depending on what your state is, I'm happy to work with you on how to follow through with that. But there are multiple avenues. I believe many states are even offering a specific email you can reach out to. So just do your diligence on that. Don't rely on one method, because we don't want it just out in the open, and we do want to follow through with this as quickly and efficiently as possible. So all that being said, that's kind of our current climate. It is a concern, but can be mitigated. Again, as we take all these steps, checking our credit report, freezing our credit, notifying our financial institutions, changing the passwords, and then using our just regular awareness as we navigate through cyber in terms of phishing or scam emails or calls or texts. The Department of Labor is only going to reach out to you once you've initiated. So again, just be making sure that you are talking to the right people should you engage in these conversations. Don't follow any numbers that you've received through scam emails or scam texts. You only use the numbers that you've seen on .gov sites. So with that, good luck to everyone, and I want to open up to any more questions should we have any. Otherwise, this is my information. I am Max Greene, the cyber awareness consultant for the Tyler cybersecurity team. My email is max.greene@tylertech.com, and again, we would love to help you in any way that we can. if there's additional questions, but this information should arm you with most of the things you need to know.